Welcome once more, viewers. Thank you for taking another time to be with us today. Come to your house, to your office, to your car from Deliverance Church Saika International. We want to appreciate you having taken time to follow us. You have been taking your time to listen to us, to the teachings, the preachings, and we don't want to take it for granted. We want to sincerely appreciate you, and we just want to pray that you may continue following us, continue listening to our teachings, and even continue encouraging us by sending your comments, your likes. As I've seen quite a number of you are doing it, both from within and even friends who are listening to us out there, and we very much appreciate that. This evening, before we continue with our series on parenting, I just want us to start with a word of prayer first, as we invite the presence of our Lord to take over. Father, I want to thank you, I want to praise you, I want to glorify you because of your goodness, your faithfulness upon our lives. We thank you, dear King of Glory, because of your goodness upon our families, upon even dear King of Glory, our parents, our children. We thank you, oh dear mighty Father, for your goodness upon this ministry. We don't want to take it for granted. We want to exalt you and to praise you, dear King of Glory, because you have been good to us, you've been faithful to us. We thank you even for this opportunity to reach out to your people, dear King of Glory, with the teachings. We thank you that, dear mighty Father, in spite of the challenges of coronavirus, that we are not meeting in church, but dear King of Glory, you have enabled us to have another platform to reach out to thy people. We thank you and we glorify you. May you be with them, may you bless them even as they listen to us. Bless them, even, oh dear King of Glory, and then apply the teachings we bring to them even in their lives. We give you glory and honor. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen. Once more, viewers, welcome. I remember in our last session we were looking at some of the behaviors that even the best parents should stop doing them, or at least limit them in their parenting, because in one way or another they either take all the autonomy out of their children, or they empower them too much to do the things that are not good. So we need a balance to make sure that at least we are bringing up a well-balanced generation of tomorrow. I remember touching on at times as parents having some favorite children in our families, that even our other children know that we favor them because of maybe the way we do our things, the way we respond to their issues, the way we don't even maybe become hard on them in terms of discipline. And this makes the rest of the family feel like we favor them from the rest of them. And I remember sharing and saying that it's good that we take the responsibility across, that even other children, we give them responsibility, like in collaborative parenting, that everybody in the family feels he has a responsibility over the rest of the family, and they are answerable to the family too. And that will help us to take away that bit of favoritism, so that we may share it across to the rest of the family. I know at some point, or in the next session that we will cover, I'll want to bring out why it so happens that we have favorites in our families, that there are some of the children we feel like we like them more than the rest. So I want to leave it at that point, so that I'll pick it in the other session, just to clarify what really happens, that even we find ourselves favoring some of our children. And apart from that, even as we are looking at favorites, on the contrary, there are stages that we always find ourselves maybe letting other children drop out of the family. And these are the stages, especially the teenagers, where they are feeling like they are becoming adults and they want their own space. They want to do their own things. And at times maybe we have bought them phones, they have laptops, and they want to close themselves in their rooms and do their own things. It could be even they are doing the right things, they are doing their studies, or they're just trying to look at what they can do with their lives. But this is one thing that is not good to let them just drop out of the family, that they can always keep away, they can always keep in their rooms and do their things. At the end of the day, you'll find that they are losing out so much on at times, like teenagers, we allow them to drop out because they want their space, and at times it's not the best thing, because at times they may end up just cutting themselves off the family, such that they don't follow what you expect them to do. And so the best thing as a parent, it's not good to let your children drop out of the family. Always create time that each one of them are together, probably like meal times. Make sure that everybody's on table, maybe during supper. Make time for even just devotions, like everyone is in the house for the evening devotions, and maybe breakfast if you can. Just have everybody on table, and that will help you so much, so that the family is intact, and you get in touch to know even what your children are doing and what they are going through. So it's just wise that you make a ritual that at least once in a while, or in the day, you are meeting with your children and know how they are doing, and catching up just to know where they are. And at times, even as I talk about the teenagers, there are times you find that our children have reached at a point where they are doing so much on their own, and at times also a teenage being that they are feeling like they're coming from childhood, entering adulthood, and most of the times the things they want their space, they want to do their own stuff. And at times also they are also catching up with identity issues. They want to identify themselves. At times they do things you look at and you feel like, no, this is not the right thing. And also because of the age itself, they tend to rebel even when you want them to move this direction. You find they are going the opposite direction. It's quite good that you stick to what you feel is right as a parent. And at times this is when the authoritative parenting style comes handy, that you can sit down with your child and talk about what is happening, what are some of the experiences they are going through, why are they behaving the way they are behaving, that you come to a resolution, that you understand what is happening in their lives, but make them understand that that is not the right way to go as a parent. And therefore, there are times that we parents feel like we have talked enough and you feel tired. I've corrected enough and I'm feeling tired. And you just feel like letting things go. Like you feel like taking the easy way out and letting them go their way. That this is one point that at times you feel this temptation of just letting it go, of avoiding the argument and not wanting to pressure on. But it's just wise for you as a parent to hang on, especially if you know the direction you are guiding your child to go is the right direction. Just hang on, don't give up, don't take it the easy way that you let them do what they want to do. Just hang on and give direction. And time comes when even children have gone out of hand and you feel like there's nothing much you can do. It's just wise as a parent that you stick in and just be checking on them and see what they are doing. Let them know that you are still there as a parent, even if you feel like they are not working the way you may want them to go. And even in such a situation, you find most of the times we parents, we may judge ourselves harshly, thinking that maybe we didn't bring out our children the right way. Maybe I did something that makes them behave the way they are behaving. Maybe I left them at some stage that I gave them a leeway that is making them be who they are. And at times, it looks like at times we set our own exams and set the pass mark so high about us as parents that maybe you have done something that we question ourselves so much, that we judge ourselves so harshly that we don't even forgive ourselves. There are times even our children may find it easy to forgive us but we still hang on with the issues. We judge ourselves harshly, feeling that we didn't do it the right way. It's just good to understand that as human beings, at one point or another, we can make an error. And just accept that it is also good to forgive ourselves. Make a deliberate decision to forgive yourself. Make a deliberate decision to know that you made a mistake, but you can forgive yourself and move on. Pick it from there and move on as a parent. So what I'm saying is that one thing that I would like you to do as a parent is not to judge yourself so harshly because of one mistake that maybe did happen in your parenting. Don't judge yourself harshly, but learn to forgive yourself, pick it up, and move on. And if there's something, it is a thing you can correct, then correct it. Maybe it's a mistake you made with your firstborn, correct it, and don't do it the same way as you did it with don't do it the same way with the rest of the children as you did it with your firstborn. The other thing is that most of the time as parents, we tend to solve most of our children's problems. We always believe that we should solve the problems because we feel like if they do the mistake, maybe I didn't allow it. Just as I was talking about you judging yourself so harshly. You think your child did a mistake because you didn't maybe direct him or bring him up the right way. But it's good to understand that children are on their own. And human is to err. They can make mistakes. And these mistakes, it's good to help to allow them to learn to solve the problems by themselves. Allow them to learn to take responsibility. For instance, if your child is going to school, you have planned, you have packed everything, lunch for him, and he leaves it on the table. Let the child understand that it was their mistake to leave the dish on the table or a food on the table. Don't take the blame. Don't ask yourself, why did I see it, to remind him? But make him take the responsibility that he has to make sure that he packs everything for himself. Let them take that responsibility. And therefore, it's good to let our children learn to sort out their problems. It's good to let our children learn to know how to negotiate around their problems, such that we are not every time there to solve their problems. Time is coming when you will not be there for them. Probably they would have grown up, they're in school. You will not be with them. They have grown up, they're out of school, and they're in their own employment and doing their own things. You may not be there for them. So it's just good to let them learn to solve their own problems. That you are not going to be there for every issue that comes into their life. That when your child leaves a sweater in school, you have to wake up the following morning to go and find it. Or go to talk to the teacher. Learn to empower your child to talk to their own teachers about whatever they have lost in school. And they'll become responsible. They'll take the responsibility that even before they tell you, they'll try their own way of solving their problem. That they'll only come to you when they feel like things are getting tougher or they are running out of hand for them to sort out. As parents, many times we have our children helping us at home. Maybe in one area or another you have asked them to do it. So it's just very good that we learn to separate responsibility from helping. So one thing I'm asking parents to do is do not confuse helping from responsibility. Such that you'll have to learn to empower your children to take responsibility in the duties in the home. If you have to assign them to help, know that they did help, but learn to empower them to take responsibility. That on their own they'll initiate issues and take care of them even in your absence. That they will know when mom is not there early enough, I have to make sure that we have water, we have maybe vegetables, we have breakfast in the house. especially when you can, they know where they can find the money to buy that. So learn to empower them to take responsibility, such that when you are not there, they are able to handle the issues. Should something happen that you have not come home early, you will find everything well taken care of. That you will never even struggle to make sure that you make a call to send them here and there so that you can find things in place. That they will learn to take responsibility and do things as expected. Most of the times, as parents, we always want our children to be in the safe space. We always want our children not to be anxious. We always want our children not to suffer in one way or another. And therefore, we end up telling them that everything will be okay, even in whatever situation they are in. So this is one thing I'm asking as parents, even that best parent, this is one thing you need to avoid. This is one thing you need to cut down. Telling your kid that everything is okay whenever they are anxious. Telling them that everything is okay even when they feel things are going south, even when they feel that things are going wrong. And because you feel like you don't want your child to be in a bad space, in a bad shape, you assure them that everything is okay. I would like you to look at it from the point that children need to own up to what is happening to them. If they are going through a challenging situation, let them learn to accept the situation. Let them learn to deal with the situation the way it is. So it's always reassuring them that it's okay leads to some sort of dependence. They feel like you are always there for them, even when they can handle the situation, or when they have to go through the situation to learn to deal with it. So it's always good to validate your child's worries. Let them feel what they are feeling. Let them feel understood that they are going through some situations. So even when they are going through that tough situation and they are telling you, let them hear that you understand what they are going through. Give them a statement like, okay, I get it. So that they may understand, you can imagine what they are going through. Other than you telling them to get over it. Because you telling them to get over it is like you are telling them to assume that that situation is happening. You are telling them to assume that whatever is happening is not happening. So it's just good to make them understand that this situation, it's okay you're going through this situation, but maybe we'll find a solution out of it. Let them learn to handle the situation they are going through, and at the end of the day, learn to deal with the situation. Let them feel anxious and know how to come out of the anxiety. Let them feel the anger and learn to come out of that anger. That if they are crying because of what they are feeling inside them, allow them to cry and deal with the situation. Don't tell them that it's okay or you'll get over it. Yes, at the end of the day, they'll get over it. But the best way, let them walk through the situation, and at the end of the day, let them understand that you understand what they are feeling. But at the end of the day, they learn to deal with their own situation. And at times, as parents, another thing that I would like you to take to go over as a parent or to cut down is taking yourself too serious as a parent. Most of the times as parents, we know it's our responsibility to take care of our children. And a lot of weight has been put over us as parents. It's such that we take ourselves so serious in the way we do things. We believe that being a parent, you have to be too serious. We believe that being a parent, there are things you don't have to do. But I'm here to tell you that as a parent, you are a human being. It's just good to be, as much as you're role modeling, there are things you can do just in a way that leaves you also having joy in yourself. That you may take even time to play with your children. That you may take time to sing with your children freely. Even that those songs that the children sing when they are in preschool. You can take your time just to enjoy doing simple things with your children. It doesn't mean that being a parent, you don't enjoy, you don't feel good. So create time to enjoy the little things in the family life. Create time to do the small things with your children. I remember there are times as I was growing up as a young boy, there are times my mom would decide just to dance for us, like the twist kind of style they used to dance, and we would enjoy it. Because I knew our generation was a generation far apart from hers, and we would enjoy her dancing to us twist, because that's why they used to dance. So just create time to have fun with your children. Create time to play ball with your children. Create time to go out there and just run with your children. Make it fun even as you parent. You don't have to be too serious, and you don't have to feel like you don't have to do such like things. Another thing is when we err in our parenting or in our life, and we feel like we don't want to show our children that we have made a mistake. I mean, refusing to express our regrets, just to show that, oh, I did something wrong and I'm sorry that it did happen. You know, at times we find it just so difficult to say it to our children, oh, we did make a mistake. But you know, we are human, and at times when we talk to our children, make them understand that we are human. So it's just good that at times when you have done something you feel like it was not right, just tell your children that, oh, I'm sorry, this happened because of one thing or another. At times maybe you have promised our children over the holiday we'll be doing something, we'll be going somewhere. And because they did one thing and you got mad about it, you decided to cancel. And probably at the end of the day you realize that, okay, I was not supposed to have done that. Because I had promised them, they had prepared for the occasion out. Just tell them, okay, I'm sorry, I did make that decision because I was feeling mad, I was feeling bad that you had done this. But maybe plan for another one to come. So when there's something you have done and at the end of the day you feel like you didn't do it the right way, feel free to discuss with your children. Feel free to say you are sorry to them and correct the situation. Another thing I would like us to, as parents, to cut out or to reduce is failing to use communication processes. Most of the times, our children may make a mistake, and you as a parent, you get mad about it. I know some of us parents, we have maybe got so angry when we come home, we find our child has done something, and maybe you find them with their friends or with visitors are there, and you just burst out and say so much in front of their friends, in front of the visitors. And at times this makes our children feel frustrated. And at the end of the day, it may bring down their self-esteem. That they will not feel competent enough to speak in front of their friends. The friends especially who you maybe say bad things to them in front of them. They will not have the energy, the power to speak before their friends or even the visitors because of the frustration they have suffered. And therefore, it's always very good that as parents, we establish communication processes in our families, that we may learn to maybe talk about the issues that have happened in the day during maybe our evening devotion, even as we prepare to go to bed, that we may tell our children that this and this happened and I did not like it. Just look at what happened. and some of the things you don't like them to do, some of the behaviors that they did and you didn't like. Just pick a time that you may address all this. And at times, you may be having like teenagers and even the young children, the toddlers. At times it will just be good that when you are talking to the teenagers, just create a time for them and talk to them as teenagers. Because the language you talk to them, the young ones may not understand. So create a time for your teenagers. Create a time for the young children, the toddlers, that you may communicate to them the best way you want to communicate them. I'm saying this because I know maybe when you're talking to your teenager about the relationships, the things you are observing, you may not want to talk to them in front of the babies or the 5-year-olds or those who are still younger. So you may just want to create time for the teenagers. And this is what I'm calling communicating processes. I mean, where are we communicating the issues, and who are you communicating to, even whatever you are communicating. So just learn to create time for different developmental stages in your family, and address issues according to their developmental stages or at the stages where they are, and maybe separate times with separate groups, and that will be the best thing for you to do. So what I'm saying is you should not fail to create these communication processes as a parent. And also, even as you do that as a parent, I know we have so much to do nowadays as parents, and especially during these times of COVID-19, we are always through with our children, don't have time for ourselves. So I just want to bring up one more thing, that you shouldn't neglect your own well-being as a parent. You should not neglect your own well-being as a parent. Many of us operate under a belief that our child should become fast. And it's like it's mentally engraved in our mind that our children should come fast. They should have the best. And this takes away anything that we may want to enjoy. That whenever we think about going out, it's about taking out our children. Whenever we think about visiting, we are thinking about taking our children to their aunties, to their uncles, to other family friends. Our children come first. But we forget our own well-being. It's very important that we think about us, even as parents, that we may create time for us, that we may have our own leisure, that at some point we may have somebody take care of our children, even as we just have to go out and enjoy, and maybe have just a sleepover somewhere on our own, that we may talk about our issues, that we may even revisit our times of engagement, that we may revisit even the times of our honeymoon, that we may just have good time on our own. So what I'm saying is that we should not neglect our own well-being. Let's create time just to have leisure. Let's create time for ourselves. Let's create the me time or the us time as parents, just to catch up, just to have nice time on our own, maybe away from our parents. So it's nice just to create time for yourself. Maybe in a month, purpose to take one weekend out or one day out for your own as parents. And even as you take some other times, you may treat your children. So do not neglect your own well-being. It's important, because as you take care of yourself, you'll be in a better position to take care of your children. You'll be in a smart position even to look after your children. So I want to end on that note for today's teachings. And I just want to, as you have listened to me talk about the things that you should stop doing or reduce on, I want you to practice. Once in a while, do one thing or the other to make sure that at the end of the day, you have done at least 2 or 3 of the things that I've taught you or I've shared with you. And I know we'll end up being the best parents that we would want to be, and the children will enjoy even being with us, and even as we work together with them. So thank you. I'd like us to end with a word of prayer. Father, I want to thank you, want to praise you, want to glorify you for your goodness and care. Thank you for the session that we have gathered together with our viewers. I want to pray, oh dear King of Glory, that they have listened to me, and dear King of Glory, whatever they have picked, may they put into practice for the good of their families and for their own good at the end of the day. I pray, Jehovah, for that viewer that has taken their time to listen to me, for that viewer that has spared their time to do other things that they have listened to me. King of Glory, may you bless them even with their families as they bring them up. I pray, oh dear King of Glory, I'm praying also, dear mighty Father, that they continue listening to us, that they continue following us, dear King of Glory. May their blessings even follow them, Holy One of Israel. I pray even for this ministry that may continue, dear King of Glory, helping us as we reach out to thy people. I want to pray for the media team, dear King of Glory, that as you continue even, dear Father, giving them the energy, the strength, even, dear King of Glory, to be available for this ministry. I want to pray, oh dear King of Glory, for their blessings upon their lives. Thank you, Holy One of Israel. Continue, dear Father, being with us even as you continue supporting your children. We thank you, we praise you, and we glorify you. In Jesus' name I pray and believe.